nagsasabing po nito.
Okay, let me rephrase. I'm sorry, for me, these are simple questions, no? Regulations lang po ito. So ulitin ko, sakop ang government transaction sa AMLA regulations, correct? Yes.
Exact po.
Yes. At ano po ba yung rules natin pagdating sa pagre-report sa AMLA? Above a certain amount? Tama po ba?
Opo.
Opo. Magkano po yung limit? Kapag above, what amount po yan?
More than 500,000 po.
So any amount above 500,000, whether private po o gobyerno, nire-report niyo po sa AMLA?
Supposedly po.
Okay, yan yung covered o yan yung suspicious? Yung over 500,000, magkaiba po yun, di ba? Okay, yung suspicious po, ano po yung regulasyon kapag nagsasabit po kayo ng suspicious transaction? Ano po yung batayan? Bakit ang isang transaction ay suspicious?
Kung sa tingin po namin ay doubtful po yung transaction. Pero for this particular po, hindi naman po kami nag-doubt kasi alam namin po na legit po yung transaction.
Okay, klaruhin ko kayo na po, sabi nyo personally, meron kayong pagdududa, pero officially, hindi po kayo nag-report na suspicious transaction po ito.
Wala po akong sinabing may pagdududa.
Kayo na, sabi nyo, nung nagtanong si Senator Tulfo, sabi nyo...
Unusual po ang nasabi ko po.
Okay. So kahit at sa tingin po nyo, unusual ito, di nyo po ito ni-report bilang suspicious transaction?
Hindi po pwede magsabi po na nag-report po kami dahil nga po, i-invoke po yung AMLA law.
Okay. So, covered, definitely, kasi it's above 500,000. Pero yung suspicious transaction, ayaw nyo po dahil covered po ito ng AMLA law.
Kasi para sa amin naman po ay talagang hindi naman po siya suspicious.
Okay. Sige po. Sige po, yun na po muna. Maraming salamat, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Senator Bam Aquino. You may avail of the second round, if at all, Senator Aquino. Senator Judge Alan Cayetano is recognized. Thereafter, Senator Judge Joel Villanueva. You have 2 minutes. I'm sorry, after Senator Alan, Senator Risa. Thereafter, Senator Judge Joel Villanueva. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Magandang umaga, Madam Witness. Welcome to the Senate.
Maganda.
Most of my questions na tanong naman ni Senator Erwin. I'd just like to ask, but you're familiar with the concept of confidential or discretionary funds? Or hindi? In government parlance?
Wala po kami.
Okay. No, kasi kung hindi ka familiar, whether that agency has 50 million discretionary funds or let's say if you were the manager sa OP and they had, I don't know how much now, 10 billion, you won't find it unusual kung 500 million, 250, 1 billion. Kasi nga, usual means parate, unusual means bakit ganito kalaki, no? Because when I was in the DFA, there was a big storm and I've never dealt with Land Bank directly except for my personal account as sa sweldo ko as DFA Secretary. But the President asked us, what can each agency do? So my staff then, si Yusek Ariola said, Sir, maraming ma-stock sa mga ports, airport at seaport. May isa tayong fund that kung OFW sila, pwede tayong magbigay. So I think we had to withdraw 50 or 100 million. At sinabi ng branch manager, wala. And then it was a Friday. So I had to call the president of Land Bank and say, sir, basta stranded hindi. And then they sent over 50 or 100 million. So my point is, just because it's unusual, it doesn't mean it's illegal or whatever. Tama po ba?
Wala naman pong illegal dun sa encashment po.
Because nga, may difference when it's a private account. So it's a private account and they don't usually, let's say, someone has a private account, commercial or private, meaning business or personal niya, they always withdraw 50,000, 100,000. This is theoretical, so hindi to covered ng bank secrecy law. Suddenly, we withdraw ng 3 million, minsan nagtatanong, di ba? Dahil know your customer, di ba? Ganon din sa deposit. I'll just finish this line. Ganon din sa deposit, di ba? So, kung sweldo ko 30,000, every time nagde-deposit ako 30,000, biglang magde-deposit ako 2 million, tatanungin ako, sir, saan galing to? Right? Pero pag government, as long as you're dealing with the people you identified with, so whether that's DPWH, whether that's DOTR, basta everything's in order, magtataka ka lang pag sobrang laki ng amount, but then you'll release it. No?
Kindly
Thank you.
wind up.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you. I was just clarifying that point.
Thank you, Senator Judge Allen. Senator Judge Risa Deveros is recognized. You may proceed, ma'am, when you're ready. You have 2 minutes.
Salamat po, Mr. Presiding Officer. Madam Witness, yung 32 years nyo po na sinabi sa banking industry, yun po ba lahat ay sa land bank lamang?
Opo.
Okay. And then, sabi nyo po, unusual. Unusual yung withdrawals na ito. Sa 32 years nyo po sa banking industry, sa land bank, nakakita na po ba kayo ng ganyang kalaking amount na withdrawal ever before?
First time po.
First time. Okay. Sabi nyo nga kanina, unusual yung amount. First time, may ganyang amount na 125 million pesos. Bakit nyo sinabing unusual? Ano yung floor nyo para sabihing unusual yung isang amount?
Usually po kasi kaya naging unusual para sa akin kasi cash po siyang kinukuha.
Mhm.
Sa other, naman po is, kumbaga nag-issue po sila ng mga cheque sa, yung disbursement po nila, by checks po, hindi po cash.
Okay. So, hindi lang yung laki nung halaga na 125 million ang unusual. Unusual din na yung ganyang unusual amount ay sa cash kinuha at hindi sa mga cheque.
Opo.
Okay. And yung 125 lowest amount na kapag kinuha in cash, sasabihin nyo na rin unusual.
Pwede naman po namin sabihin na unusual, let's say kung over, let's say 500,000 na po siya.
Over 500,000?
Kasi yun,
Kung over 500,000 kinuha in cash, sasabihin nyo unusual.
for that particular, let's say po yung kliyente, yung
Yes.
ganun po.
For the particular client. Ito, hindi lang 500,000, 125 million. So, 250 times mas unusual sa minimum amount na sasabihin yung unusual kung kinuha in cash.
Depende po rin sa yung kliyente po.
Depende sa kliyente. But kung sino mang kliyente aside, nasabi niyong unusual dahil 125 million na para po sa akin is 250 times yung 500,000 at hindi po in check, kundi in cash po kinuha.
Pwede nga po, depende po sa depositor po niya. Kung regular lang sa kanya yung mga ganang withdrawals or what, it's usual.
Okay.
Pero kung parang for the first time na-encounter namin that much, unusual po sa
And
akin.
this was your first time.
Opo.
And in your 32 years, higit 3 dekada, kung masasabi nating pambihirang amount ito in cash,
Opo.
masasabi nating once in a lifetime yung ganitong amount in cash.
Pwede po.
Pwede. Alright. Salamat, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you.
Tutuloy ko po sa second round.
Thank you, Senator Judge Risa. Senator Judge Villanueva, thereafter, our distinguished Senate President. You may proceed, sir, when you're ready. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer, Senate President. Madam Witness, binanggit niyo po yung unusual, no? And gusto kong susugan yung katanungan. Yung usual, below 500,000 pag individual. Pero kung ito'y government agency, paano niyo masasabi na ito'y unusual?
Any depositor naman po, kung hindi naman po ganong frequent silang nag-withdraw ng ganong kalaking cash. Kaya po, naano ko siyang unusual.
Kung ganito po, na 4 na beses na nag-withdraw na 125 billion, would you say usual na siya?
Unusual nga po.
No,
Kasi,
kung 4 na sunod-sunod na yung binanggit po ninyo, 125 million, sunod-sunod, nagiging usual na po ba siya? O unusual pa rin?
pwede naman po.
What is
Unusual.
it?
Kung sunod-sunod naman po, magiging ano na po siya, talagang usual transaction na po yun.
So, kung ganun nga po, na 4 na sunod-sunod, usual transaction na siya.
Opo.
Madam Witness, as I understand yung process, the BM would provide the funding, notice of cash allocation, and then the agency authorizes the disbursement. At kayo, for example, sa inyong bangko, sa land bank, bine-verify nyo lang at you pay the corresponding instruments. Is that correct?
Opo. Bine-verify po yung pag-issue ng cheque po, yung mga signatories, payees, like that po.
So bago po inilabas ang salapi o yung pera, ano-ano pong dokumento yung aktual na natatanggap po ninyo at inyong masusing sinusuri? Kasi sabi nyo nga ho, I'm sure from the first withdrawal, as you made mention, it's unusual. So ano yung mga talagang sinusuri po ninyo na dokumento bago nyo i-release ito?
Supported naman po ito ng advice. So once po nakapasok na po sa system at funded naman po siya, okay na po sa amin yun.
So yun lang po yung inyong sinecheck.
Opo.
And that's it, you release it right away.
Yes, sir.
And binanggit niyo ko kanina, hindi ito suspicious
Para sa ano ko po, hindi po siya suspicious.
at lahat po ay legitimate.
Yes, sir.
One last question that I'd like to ask. With this amount of money that will be withdrawn by the payee, ano yung mga advance arrangements? Kasi hindi, sabi nyo nga, hindi usual, yung biglaan, 125 million. Ano yung mga advance arrangements na hinihingi po ninyo o tinatawag po sa inyo bago mailabas po itong salapi na ito? How far in advance was Land Bank informed that these amounts of physical cash would be required for each transaction?
Mga a day or two po, ni-inform po kami from the cash division po ng OVP na meron po silang ganong cash requirement. So, sa amin naman po, pinaprocess naman po namin yung requirements nila bago po namin sila advise na available na po yung cash.
So in 24 hours, kaya na po.
Pwede naman po.
Salamat po. Maraming salamat.
Thank you rin po.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Judge Villanueva. The distinguished Senate President is recognized. You have 2 minutes for your interjection, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Good morning, Ms. Constantino. Sundan ko lang po yung natanong kanina ni Senator Risa. So in your 32 years in Land Bank, hindi ba mo pa yung nakakita ng withdrawal na ganitong kalaking amount? 125 million. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
Ano yung pinakamalaking nakita nyo ng withdrawal in cash?
Hindi ko na po malikot.
More or less lang. Mabigyan nyo kami.
In cash.
In cash.
Siguro po
Pinakamalaking nakita nyo na o na-experience nyo na in your
mga
30.
500,000 po.
500,000. And next, ito na, 125 million.
Yes, sir.
Ang Shaw Boulevard, maraming negosyo dyan. So I assume maraming mga private companies dyan. May nakita na ba kayong cash withdrawal from a private company na ganito kalaki in the hundreds of millions?
Mostly po mga cheque po yung ini-issue nila.
Cheque? Meron bang mga cash withdrawal din? Yung mga sa private companies?
Wala po.
Wala, puro
Checks.
cheque lang ang ini-issue nila.
Opo.
And then, nabanggit nyo kanina na 4 na beses pumunta sila Miss Acosta at si Mr. Portonio sa inyo.
Opo.
Tama ba 4 na beses?
Yes, sir.
Nung nag-withdraw sila, meron ba kayo any casual talk kung saan gagamitin itong mga perang ito? Kasi sabi nyo nga kanina, unusual, ngayon lang kayo nakakita. Hindi ba nagkaroon kayo ng konting parang casual talk sa pangatlo o pang-4 na pagkita ninyo kung saan gagamitin itong perang to?
Hindi ko na po ma-recall, Your Honor.
I'm sure nag-uusap kayo, di ba?
Brief talk.
Brief talk, meron bang nasabi kung saan gagamitin itong perang ito?
Hindi ko na nga po maalala. Sorry
Okay,
po.
Hindi nyo na maalala. Okay. And then, kanina nasa tanong rin ni Senator Bam, typically, rini-report to sa AMLAC. Yung mga ganitong kalaking amount. Na-report nyo na ba? Na-report nyo ito? Hindi yung detalye. Ang tanong lang naman kung na-report yung ganitong kalaking cash withdrawal sa AMLAC.
Ang alam ko po, ang Land Bank naman po ay compliant po sila sa when it comes to reporting po.
So, nare-report siya.
Compliant po kami doon.
Alright. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Senator Judge Pangilinan is recognized. You may proceed, sir. You have 2 minutes when you're ready.
Thank you,
Magandang umaga.
Magandang umaga po.
Unang-una, si Gina Acosta, kilala ninyong bilang Special Disbursing Officer, tama?
As pay po ng cheque.
Hindi bilang Special Disbursing Officer.
Hindi po.
Kung siya ang pay, hindi, at sinabi nyo, iba ang tumatawag sa inyo na 2 days in advance.
Iba po.
Diba? Sino yung sinabi nyo tumatawag?
Si Miss Queen Masangkay po.
Miss Masangkay.
Opo.
Bakit iba? Would you know, if you know, bakit iba yung pay, iba yung tumatawag?
Wala po kong idea kasi it's under the agency po kung sino pong gusto nilang gawing pay po.
Pero bakit si Masangkay ay kilala mo? Nagpakilala siya? Did you meet each other?
Na-meet ko po siya kasi po bago po sila mag-open ng account po sa amin, so nag-visit po sila sa branch.
Okay, so you knew her personally and therefore siya ang tumatawag. Pero ang pay ay si Gina Acosta. In other accounts, would you know or would you have experience na ganun din? Iba yung pay, iba yung tumatawag? I suppose yes, no?
Wala po akong idea.
Okay, okay. Doon sa nabanggit niyong first time ang ganyang kalaking halaga, kaya sabi niyo unusual. Meron pa bang ibang ahensya? Tama bang sabihin, walang ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan ang naglalabas ng ganyang kalaking pera sa inyong accounts, sa inyong branch? Dahil kayo ay depositary ng government bank, hindi ba?
Wala na po akong ma-recall kasi nga po kagaya ng sabi ko kanina, lahat po ay na-convert na po sila sa mga online transactions.
And most government agencies would use checks
Check or online transactions po.
or online transactions. Okay, so and sinabi nyo, ang average na cash transactions sa inyong withdrawals, apart from yung 125 million na cash, yung average is about 500,000, tama? Yung average amount ng cash.
Pwede po or lower than that. Kung cash po.
Yes, yes. So, malaki yung agwat, no?
Opo.
And that's why you say it's unusual.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no other questions, Mr. President, presiding officer. Just to manifest that earlier, the witness said that she's bound by the confidentiality rule under the AMLA law. But we take exception to that, but I understand that we will be tackling this matter in another article. We will not concede that you cannot disclose this information, this being the impeachment court. But it being, dahil ito ay itatakal sa ibang articles of incorporation, we will not pursue it at this time. I mean, the articles of impeachment, rather. Is it Article 2? Then we will not insist and we will not push the issue at this time. For the record, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Noted, but Chair would also like to place on the record that while indeed the court issued a subpoena vis-a-vis the AMLC, the provision of the law on the confidentiality with respect to bank officers are indeed provided for in the AMLC. That bank officers are those authorized to report both suspicious transactions and those exceeding 500,000 are not allowed to disclose whether or not they report. And thank you, Ms. Constantino, for being very cooperative and at the same time prudent with respect to your answers regarding the AMLC provision. Dahil kayo po yung nagdemanda kung sakasakali, hindi naman po kami. If there are no other, Senator Judge Aimee, before we go on a second round, Senator Judge Aimee, thereafter Senator Judge Erwin Tulfo for a second round, Senator Judge Montiveros for a second round, and Senator Judge Rafi for a second round. Senator Aimee, you may proceed when you're ready. You have 2 minutes now.
Thank you very much, Presiding Judge. And this is a very simple question by way of information to the prosecution. During the Blue Ribbon Committee, a certain Jean Abaya was called as a resource person. As I recall, she was then the operations head of Land Bank Show and assumed the position of department manager thereafter. I understand, of course, that the prosecution has the right to choose your witnesses. I am simply curious, bakit hindi pinatawag si Miss Abaya na magtestigo ngayon samantalang siya yung may personal knowledge ng encashment ng mga cheque na pinag-uusapan?
Your Honor,
The
at that-
Honorable Chua may respond.
thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, at that time, when this check was encashed, si Mampo, ang ating pong testigo, siya po ang branch manager. Hindi po si yung nabanggit po ninyo.
Yes, alam ko na siya yung branch manager, pero yung operations head at that time, si Jean Abaya. As a matter of fact, she was even able to say that the entire amount of the checks was withdrawn each encashment. So, ang lumalabas doon sa House hearing, kung naaalala kong maigi, si Miss Abaya ang direktang nakipag-deal kay Miss Acosta, di ba?
Your Honor, kung maririnig po natin yung kanyang salaysay, siya po kasi yung nakikipag-coordinate sa OPP.
Siya nakikipag-coordinate or sino ang direktang nakikipag-usap kay Miss Abaya, kung ganon? Kay Miss Acosta, sorry. Di ba si Jean Abaya?
Pwede po.
Yun ang
akong sumagot.
pagkaintindi ko dun sa House hearing eh.
Pwede po akong sumagot.
Yes, please.
Si Gina Abaya po, siya po yung next in rank nung ako po ay branch
Siya
manager.
yung-
Next in my rank.
Oo, yeah.
Opo.
Pero siya ba yung direktang nakipag-deal kay Miss Acosta ng DepEd?
Ako po ang direktang sa OVP po.
Nakakapagtaka lang kung bakit nung House hearing, si Miss Abaya ang siyang nagsabi ng direktahan na yung entire amount ng cheque was withdrawn each encashment. Hindi po kayo. Ba't kaganon?
Your Honor, bali po si Gina Baya po ang naging incumbent manager. Siya po yung pumalit sa akin as branch manager. So at that time, tinanong po nga siya. So since operations manager po siya, aware din po siya sa transaction. Pero natanong din po siya kung sino ang direktang kumakausap sa cash division
Okay.
staff. So kaya po ako napatawag.
Kayo yung direktang nakipag-usap.
Opo.
Kahit siya ang nag-attest na talagang buong amount ang withdraw. Ganun ba?
Aware naman po siya sa mga transactions din po sa branch.
Okay, maliban doon, Ms. Constantino, nung House Blue Ribbon, narinig ko, nung tinanong ni Congressman Luistro, sino ang nag-withdraw ng pera at linagay sa mga bag, nung una, sabi niyo, you didn't recall. Matapos nun, medyo may leading question si Congresswoman nun eh. Kasi ang sabi, do you recall Miss Acosta? Do you recall Mr. Ortonio? Bigla ninyong naalala si Miss Acosta at si Mr. Ortonio. Tama ba yun? Ba't nagkaganon? Nung una, hindi ninyo maalala. Pagkatapos nun, naalala na ninyo.
Pwede po
Ano ba talaga ang naaalala ninyo? Para klaro tayo.
Pwede po ba natin balikan po kung yung transcript po talaga? Kasi baka po, mamaya, baka lang po, I'm sorry, may iba pong issue before. Tapos po natanong ako kung bakit ko po kilala yung dalawa. So baka po may iba
Kasi
po
nung
pong
una,
story of behind.
tinatanong, kung nare-recall ninyo, sino naglagay ng pera sa mga bag? Sabi po ninyo na hindi ninyo maalala. Tama ba yun?
Ang pagkakaalala
Kindly
ko,
wind up.
ang pagkakaalala ko, sorry po. Ang pagkakaalala ko po, ang sinagot ko po yun na si
Yes,
Miss
yes.
Gina ang naglagay si Mr. Ortonio. Ang hindi ko po ma-recall kung sino po yung naglabas na ng cash.
Kung hindi ko
bags.
tinatanong yun, hindi yun ang tinutukoy ko. Ang tinutukoy ko, yung paiba-ibang sagot. Kasi nung una sabi nyo, hindi ninyo maalala kung sino naglagay ng pera sa bag. Pagkatapos nung binanggit sa inyo, do you recall Miss Acosta, do you recall Mr. Ortonio? Naalala ninyo kung sino naglagay na yung dalawa? Bakit ganon? Yun lang po.
Ang
Kindly wind
pagkakaalam,
up.
Considering that Miss Acosta is allegedly the payee, bakit hindi nyo yun naalala kaagad? Doon ako nagtataka.
wala po akong matandaan na sinabi ko, na hindi ko ma-recall po yung naglagay ng pera sa bags. Ang alam ko po, nare-recall ko kung sino po ang naglabas ng bags.
Okay,
Outside the bag.
balikan na lang po natin yung transcript doon
Sige
sa
po.
lower house
Kung pwede
at
po.
baka maipaliwanag ninyo sa amin na maigi. Maraming salamat.
Sige.
The lady may avail for round 2 with the permission of Senators Erwin Tulfo, Ontiveros, and Rafi Tulfo. Chair would like to acknowledge Senator Lacson first, since it is his first to ask questions. Thereafter, we will be recognizing in this order Senators Erwin Tulfo, Senator Tiveros, and Senator Rafi Tulfo for their second round. Senator Lacson may proceed. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Presiding Officer. Hindi po ako magtatanong. I will only make a manifestation. I'm only wondering why neither the prosecution nor the defense is presenting a competent witness in the handling of intelligence and confidential fund. Kasi po, in my previous life, sa intelligence, sa law enforcement, ang natatandaan ko, kasi limited yung purpose ng intelligence at saka confidential fund. Nagtataka lang ako, nakita ko yung regularity ng withdrawals ng cash parang every quarter except for December 20. So sana kung para ma-educate kami at saka magkaroon kami ng informed decision later on, sana meron tayong competent witness sa pag-handle ng intelligence fund or confidential fund. Para nang sa gano'n naman, ma-present namin at matanong din namin sarili namin, regular ba yung every quarter kasi January, April, tapos July, di ba? Parang regular eh. Ang alam ko, pagka may pangangailangan dahil merong intelligence gathering operation, may confidential activities, saka palang mangangailangan ng pera. So yun lang, Mr. Presiding Officer. The defense may also respond or comment. So with the prosecution. Thank you.
We will recognize both sides, but recognize first to respond to the inquiry of the manifestation rather of Senator Judge Lacson. The Honorable Chua, you may proceed, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we will be presenting our witness, pero hindi po siya yung testigo po pagdating po dyan. In time po, we will be presenting witness or witnesses that will explain yung manner po ng confidential. Kasi as my staff, wala po sa listahan ng testigo na meron tayong competent witness. So saan ang galing yung sinasabi niyo yung present yung COA po? They will be the ones that a competent witness sa pag-handle ng intelligence and confidential funds. Somebody, Your Honor, meron po kasi kami a retired intelligence officer, somebody like that na maalam mag-handle. Nagtataka lang ako bakit masyadong regular, tapos yung una pa, natapat pa namang papasko. Yes, Your Honor, may present po kami, pero kung makikita po ninyo dun sa aming pre-trial, meron po doon reserve.
Or rather is recognized for your comment to the manifestation of Senator Lacson.
Thank you,
You may
Mr.
proceed, sir.
Presiding Officer. Same comment actually with the prosecution, Your Honors. Meron din po kasi yung time mga reservations. So we will present when we feel necessary, Your Honor.
Sa ngayon nga, confidential pa din yung witness. Senator Erwin Tulfo is recognized for his availment of round 2. You may proceed, sir. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Miss Witness, ito pong transaksyon na 125, 4 times so yata ito, tama po ba?
Tama po.
Alright. Hindi po ninyo na-report na sa akin.
Kaya po nang sabi ko po, na-invoke ko po yung prohibiting us to disclose po any information regarding
No, I'm not saying na you have to disclose to us, pero I'm saying kailangan po bang i-report ito? Kasi ma'am, ayon po sa AMLAC law natin, covered po ang lahat po ng government transactions ng government agencies. Tama po ba? Do you agree with that? Alright.
Yes po.
At saka, another thing, ito mo ba ang transaksyon na ito ay nasa ilalim ng list of due and demandable accounts, payable, LDDAP, at saka meron po bang itong advice to debit account, ADA?
Meron po silang advice na na-issue po dyan.
Okay, pero nasa ilalim po ba ito ng LDDAP, yung list of due and demandable accounts?
I think agency na po ang pwedeng sumagot po regarding this.
Okay, alright. And that's all, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Senator Judge Erwin Tulfo. Senator Judge Risa Ontiveros for your second round. You may proceed, ma'am, when you're ready. You have 2 minutes.
Presiding Officer. Madam Witness, yung unusual pa rin, bago ibang tanong. Sinabi niyo kanina sa prosecution may cash involved limit. Magkano po yung cash involved limit
Sa branch po
sa
namin.
branch ninyo?
Pwede ko hindi sagutin po yan for security.
Alright. Then hindi ko itatanong yung follow-up question doon. Ito na lang. Sabi po ninyo, wala ang branch ninyo ng ganyang amount. Kung pwede nyo sabihin, magkano po ang halaga na meron ang branch nyo?
Yung malaki po kasi amount. So, in any given day po kasi talagang wala po kami branch. So, pwede ko po in average, kung ano lang po yung sa tingin namin na kasya po yung during the operational transactions po ng branch.
Magkano po yung average na yon sa branch nyo? Transactions for the day?
For us, mga ano po, maybe, mga 20 M po.
20 M. So ito pong 125 million ay times 6 po dun sa average na transactions sa branch nyo in a given day. Okay. And then, sabi nyo rin po kanina sa prosecution, kailangan tawagan ang cash center ninyo para i-transact yung amount. Magkano po yung floor ulit na halaga para kailangan yung tawagan ang cash center ninyo?
Any cash requirements naman po ay tinatawag namin sa cash center po namin for assistance.
Okay. Would you say anything above 20 million, kailangan kayong tumawag sa cash center?
Kahit po less than, basta po requirement po namin sa branch for that day, sa daily operations po namin.
And yung 125 million na yon ay lampas sa kaya ng branch nyo in that day?
Opo.
Okay. Kaya unusual ang sinabi nyo kanina sa prosecution. Okay po. In total, kalahating bilyong piso in cash ang withdraw ng Office of the Vice President sa branch ninyo. Sa experience nyo po, karaniwan rin po bang mag-withdraw ang isang ahensya ng ganyang halaga, kalahating bilyong piso, in cash, sa loob lamang ng 8 buwan?
Hindi ko po yun masasagot kasi ang agency po maybe ang dapat po sumagot about it.
Pero para sa branch po ninyo, naranasan nyo na po ba in the higit 3 dekadang nagtrabaho kayo sa Land Bank na merong alinmang ahensyang nag-withdraw ng ganyang halaga, kalahating bilyong piso in cash sa loob lamang ng less than 3/4 of a year?
Wala po akong ma-recall kasi mostly nga po sabi ko ay puro through online or ang transactions na po nila or cheque.
Okay. At bilang branch manager, sinigurado niyo po ba na otorisado talaga ni Vice President yung pag-withdraw ng kalahating bilyong piso?
Meron naman po kasi silang initial advice. So, binase naman po natin yung checking na inisyo kay Ms. Gina Costa na ito po ay may advice na po and funded.
Alright. So, batay dun sa issue advice ni Ms. Gina Costa, yun na yung pagtitiyak nyo na otorisado ni VP yung pag-withdraw nitong kalahating bilyong piso itong cash. Salamat po. Salamat, Mr. Presiding Officer. Last 2 questions if there's a final round. Salamat po.
Judge Risa, Senator Judge Rafi Tulfo for his availment of round 2. You may proceed, sir, when you're ready. You have 2 minutes.
Madam Witness, how are government agency accounts being opened sa Land Bank? Ano yung proseso po?
Pakiulit po, sir.
Ano po yung proseso para yung isang government agency ay makapag-open ng account sa Land Bank?
Meron pong request na galing po sa kanila. At the same time po, meron din pong approval from the Bureau of Treasury na mag-open po sila ng account sa amin. So once approved na po ito, ay ma-open na po yung account sa Land Bank.
Very good. Now, sa kaso po ng OVP, sino po yung nag-open na account? Sino po yung pumunta sa bangko ninyo para i-open yung account ng OVP?
Ang alam ko po, nag-inquire po yung head po ng
Huwag po
agency.
alam ko, dapat sino po talaga, sigurado dapat kayo.
Yung head po ng cash division.
Nila.
Opo.
Okay, ano po yung mga presentang dokumento para magpapatunay na sila po authorized talaga na mag-open ng account on behalf of the OVP?
Gaya po nasabi ko nga po kanina, yung pong request nila na mag-open account, At the same time, yung approval po ng Bureau of Treasury na sila po ay allowed po mag-open ng account sa amin.
Ano kung nasa niyo po yung question kanina, sino po yung person na pumunta doon para magpresenta na ako from OBP at nagpakita ng dokumento at ako yung authorized person to represent the OBP for this account?
Yung head po ng cash division po ng OVP.
And what is her name again? Ano pangalan niyo po?
Hindi ko na po ma-recall yung head po. Yung isa po kasi staff niya po yun,
Okay.
si Miss Queenie.
So pagdating niyo po doon sa bangko, meron po siyang sigurado akong binabanggit ng mga taong point person na para pumunta sa bangko para mag-withdraw at sino mga signatories, etc. Tama?
Pakiulit po ang tanong, Your Honor.
Kasi po yung sa cash division, hindi ko na maalala ang pangalan ng tao ulit.
Yung head ng cash division, hindi ko na po ma-recall.
Okay, sige, yung head ng cash division, pumunta doon ng open account. Sa doon, nagkakaroon ng arrangement para sabihin sa inyo na ang pwede na mag-withdraw ay si ganito at kasama si ganito.
Wala pong ganong arrangement.
Wala.
Wala pong ganon.
O dapat mayroong arrangement para malaman ninyo kung sino yung point person ng OBP para tumawag sa inyo at sino kayo nagde-designate ng point person to coordinate from the OBP to the land bank.
Yung po, sorry po, ang pagkaintindi ko po kung sino po yung inisyo nila ng cheque, ganun po ba?
No, sino yung taong nagsasabi sa land bank na ito lamang ang recognize namin na tumawag at the day of the withdrawal at ito lamang ang pwedeng pumirma sa check, etc. etc. There has to be one person.
As to authorized signatories po, aware naman po yung agency kung sino po yung mga authorized na pumirma. Ngayon po, kung sino po yung...
No, sorry. You're listening but you're not hearing me. Sino po yung tao na nagsabi sa land bank na, hey, land bank, ito lamang mga tao ang pwedeng kumontak sa inyo, ang pwedeng mag-withdraw, period. Sino yun?
ang pagkakalam ko po, sina Asik Ortonio po. Tsaka po sila po kasi yung officers po na
So did they go personally sa land bank or through telephone lamang?
Sa pagkakaalala ko po, meron po silang written communication
So
po.
how did you know na sila talaga yung nasa written communication?
Nag-represent po sila ng mga IDs nila. Yung, doon po sa pagkakaalala ko
So
po,
they went to land bank personally
yes.
and then they presented documents to prove that they are that person.
Opo.
And then,
Kasi, sorry po, pwede pong mag-in. Bali po doon, sa pagkakaalala ko po, sa binibigyan ng dokumento, meron na rin pong photocopy ng mga IDs po nila.
thank you.
Thank you, Senator Judge Tulfo. Senator Judge Pangilinan is recognized. For its round 2 availment. You may proceed, sir, when you're ready. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Yung check-in na winidraw o pinisenta sa inyo December 20, 2022, tama ang date?
Opo, December 20, 2022.
Kinuha yung pera on the same day, December 20.
Opo.
So, kung sabi nyo kanina unusual yung malaking halaga, unusual din o usual ba yun? Yung ganung halaga, same day naka-date, same day din i-withdraw, ganon.
Bali nga po,
Mabilis ba yun?
may prior notice po sila, ang agency, na meron silang magkakaroon po sila ng ganong encashment. So as to
2 days before.
Opo. So, yung pong December naman po kasi, pwede naman po nilang gawin yun on the same day. Kasi po, pag December, merong regulation naman po ang Bureau of Treasury. Kapag po December, hindi na po natin siya inihintay yung 24 hours or to 48 hours na ano po.
Yes, so but if you combine both, the huge amount, which is unusual, and the same day dated check,
Transaction.
and the same day withdrawal, is that usual?
Sa tingin ko naman po, usual naman po siya.
So the only thing unusual is that it is a huge amount, which you've never experienced in your
Yes, Your
career.
Honor. Opo.
Okay. And so tinatawag sa'yo 2 days before kahit hindi pa handa yung check, in other words.
Hindi ko na lang po alam
Kasi
sa side
2 days,
nila. Opo.
2 days before, yeah. Pero posible, no, na 2 days before, December 18, 17, inihahanda nila, hindi na-notify. Okay. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Senator Judge Pangilinan. Senator Judge Antiveros, for the final round, for your last two questions, I believe, or no more? No more? If there are no other interventions or interjections from the Senator Judges, the presiding officer would like to excuse you already. Ma'am Violeta Constantino, thank you very much, ma'am, for your time. Salamat po sa inyong kooperasyon. Magandang umaga po. Mananghalian po muna kayo dyan bago kayo umuwi. Yes, Senator Judge Pangilinan.
Manifestation because I'm receiving a few text messages.
The gentleman may proceed.
Thank you. About the non-disclosure by covered transactions. We just have to distinguish, para sa interest lang ng mga nagtatanong, ang covered institutions na hindi pwede mag-disclose ang mga bangko ng AMLA records. Pero ang AMLA mismo, hindi siya, at least the position of the impeachment court, is not covered by the confidentiality of records.
That is what the chair said earlier. That was contained in the ruling of the court.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President.
Thank you. With the permission of the parties, it's 11:42, so that we can cut clean. We can pause for lunch and resume at 12:15 for a 30-minute lunch break.
Your Honor, before anything, just a quick manifestation, Your Honor. Your Honor,
Counsel for respondent is recognized.
mukhang naiwan po yata ng witness natin itong certification. If I may just turn it over.
Yes. Kindly give it to the counsel for the panel of prosecutors.
May we know what is the content of the
Yes.
document?
12:30 then. We resume at 12:30 for the next witness of the prosecution in the person of Ms. Nenita Camposano.
That's okay with us, Your Honor.
Counsel from the panel of prosecutors, that's okay?
Yes, that's okay with us, Your Honor.
Then we shall go on recess and shall resume at 12:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sponsor of this measure.
If I may also, Mr. President, with the permission of Senator Pangilinan, if he can be made co-author and co-sponsor of this measure. Thank you.
That's duly noted.
Thank you. And I'd like to congratulate him for these two very good measures, and I hope that the House of Representatives can also pass the counterpart measures so we can approve it into a Republic Act very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I'd like to just recognize, with your permission, local officials, the councilors of Tuguegarao City are here with us. They're guests of Senator J.V. Harrison, so they're here with us, and Senator Joel Villanueva.
Welcome to the Senate.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we take up proposed resolution number 385. This is the resolution honoring the life and legacy of Martin Olonlis Tuason, for his invaluable contribution and steadfast commitment and unwavering dedication to strengthening the Philippine defense industry.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, consideration of proposed resolution 385 is now in order. The secretary is directed to read the title of the resolution.
Resolution honoring the life and legacy of Martin Olontes Tuason for his invaluable contributions, steadfast commitment, and unwavering dedication to strengthening the Philippine defense industry.
If I may, Mr. President, be able to sponsor the measure.
The senator from Bukidnon is recognized to sponsor the resolution.
Maraming salamat po, mahal na Pangulo. Mr. President, it is with a heavy heart that I stand here today to sponsor this resolution honoring the life and legacy of one of my best friends, a dear friend and true patriot, Martin Olontes Tuason, who passed away last November due to a massive heart attack. Any firearms enthusiast in the country will know Martin as the head of the Arms Corps Global Defense Group, a proudly homegrown corporation that has, under Martin's leadership, established itself as the largest privately owned firearms and ammunition manufacturing company in Southeast Asia. He inherited the Arms Corps from a line of patriots who have made immense contributions to our country's defense industry. From his grandfather, Don Celso Tuason, to his father, Ambassador Demetrio Bolo Tuason, who is here with us today, who first led the expansion of Arms Corps. But it was Martin who strengthened the Arms Corps' global recognition, setting up manufacturing facilities in Montana, Nevada, and Utah in the United States, and exporting to over 60 countries worldwide. He also led Arms Corps' transformation into a total defense solutions provider beyond just firearms and ammunition. Even with his efforts to expand Arms Corps' reach, however, Martin remained committed to Arms Corps' roots. He continued to grow his manufacturing plant in Marikina City and employed thousands, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, thousands of Mariqueños from that plant alone. And he became a staunch advocate for growth and development of the local defense industry towards building a credible self-defense posture for the country. In fact, my dear colleagues, he was instrumental in the passage of the Self-Reliant Defense Posture Act in 2024, which I authored and sponsored. He was here almost every day in all the hearings, supporting our push for our self-reliance defensive posture in this country. His insights helped shape that measure through which we built the framework for a local defense industry that will create meaningful jobs for skilled Filipino workers and reduce our reliance on foreign suppliers. Martin firmly believed that Filipino defense manufacturers would best serve Filipino troops and that nothing could protect us better than our very own products. To this end, he worked with the Armed Forces of the Philippines and our law enforcement agencies to develop defense material that perfectly fit our needs, our terrain, and our conditions. He also provided invaluable support to the Philippine government in ensuring reliable supply of firearms and ammunition to our troops as they fought to liberate Marawi. Tamang-tama, our Chief Minister is here, Chief Minister Makakua of the Barn. During the siege of Marawi, when we ran out of bullets, Your Honor, and no one else was there to give us the bullets we need to defend our territory in Marawi, the Philippine territory from these armed terrorists. It was Arms Corps that opened their bodegas and gave our troops the ammunition needed to continue the fight against the Maute rebels in 2017. This is actually even acknowledged by then President Rodrigo Duterte, that it was Arms Corps that came in need when they needed the very important ammunition. The key to understanding, my dear friend, Martin's legacy is that he saw firearms not only as weapons of violence and harm, but of defense and protection. He was, at the end of the day, committed to build communities of peace. Only a few people know of his quiet philanthropic work through the Bata Foundation, to which this day continues to provide shelter, education, and support for abandoned and orphaned girls. They also regularly hold seminars and medical, surgical, dental missions for underdeserved communities as part of the Foundation's empowerment initiatives. And like his father, Ambassador Polo Tuason, Martin also served the country as a diplomat. From 2024 to 2025, he was the special envoy of the president, to the United States, promoting trade, investments, cultural exchange, and tourism between our two countries. As a matter of fact, when I did a trip as Senate President, Mr. President, when I was Senate President then, 2023, to Washington, D.C., it was Martin Tuason who helped open the doors to several congressmen and several U.S. senators. He was the one introducing to me many of these U.S. Politicians, mostly Republicans who are pro-gun, but those are the guys that I was meeting there, together with Tolentino, who was with me at the time, a fellow Republican. Martin Tuason leaves a rich, multifaceted legacy behind. We remember him as a true patriot who fully believed in our capability to protect ourselves and our country. We remember him as a philanthropist whose generosity created hope and opportunities for children who had none. And those of us who knew him remember him as a dear friend, a good son, and by the way, he was my hunting buddy. And all my adventures in the middle of the forest or right on top of the mountain, Martin was there with me, with all those outdoor activities that we did. And he was also a devoted husband to his wife Tammy and a father to their 3 children, who will, I have no doubt, uphold Martin's values and legacy when they grow up. Rest in peace, my dear friend, Martin Tuason. Maraming salamat sa serbisyo na binigay nyo sa ating bansa at sa industriya na iyong tinatag. So, thank you very much, Mr. President, and I hope that we can adopt with everyone as an author of this measure.
We will truly miss the presence of Martin here in the Senate. I would remember that he would regularly visit us to share his thoughts about the law that he was actively participating in, the Self-Reliance Defense Posture Law, and being an expert in defense and manufacturing. So we will truly miss his presence here in the Senate. So we recognize the gentleman from Bulacan, Senator Joel.
Yes, Mr. President, this is just a very short manifestation of support in agreement to what already been stated by our dear colleague, Senator Vic Subiri. Martin really helped us understand the industry and how we could possibly contribute in helping the local industry, Mr. President. So we'd like to put into the records our sincerest condolences to his family and loved ones. And this representation would like to put his full support to the passage of this resolution. And I hope that I become a co-sponsor, co-author of this resolution. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Senator Joel is duly noted as one of the co-authors. We recognize the gentleman from San Juan City, Senator J. Perez.
Ginong Pangulo, dear colleagues, good afternoon. I rise today to co-sponsor Senate Resolution 385 honoring the life and legacy of Martin Olondes Tuason for his invaluable contributions, steadfast commitment, and unwavering dedication to strengthening the Philippine defense industry. Mr. Tuason was a dynamic leader, and under his helm, Armstrong Global Defense Incorporated expanded its global presence and made its indelible mark in both the commercial and defense sectors, earning recognition as a major player in the Philippine defense industry. He was also a staunch patriot, and he advocated passionately for a self-reliant defense posture by playing a key role in promoting the passage of the SRDP Revitalization Act, which he passed in the 19th Congress. The landmark measure signed into law marked a significant step toward building a more credible and capable armed forces of the Philippines by revitalizing our domestic defense industry. It was never intended to be a sword aimed at any nation, but rather a shield that enables us to safeguard our sovereignty, protect our people, and uphold the interests of the Republic. On behalf of the nation, we extend our deepest gratitude to the family of Martin Tuason for his vision, leadership, and enduring service not only to the company he helped build, but more importantly to the country he loved. Every arms corps firearm entrusted to the men and women of our armed forces stands as a lasting testament of Mr. Tuason's legacy. It reminds us that the defense of our nation is not the responsibility of our soldiers alone, but a shared national endeavor. One in which Filipino ingenuity, Filipino industry, and Filipino patriotism all have a vital role to play. May his life continue to inspire generations of Filipinos to serve our country with the same purpose, excellence, and the love of nation. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Senator J. Garcito. We also recognize Senator Mark Villar, the gentleman from Las Piñas City.
Mr. President, I rise to support the proposed Senate Resolution number 385, honoring the life and legacy of a true patriot and a good friend, Martin Olondris Tuason. Mr. President, the late Martin Tuason is a staunch advocate for a strong and self-reliant Philippine defense industry. He supported policies and principles for the industry's development to what we know as the Republic Act number 12024, or the Self-Reliant Defense Posture Revitalization Act. Through his and his family's efforts, Martin transformed the country's defense landscape by supporting our national forces, strengthening national security, and generating local jobs. He also worked in close coordination with the country's defense and security officers in developing firearms that are well suited to the needs of our officers and personnel in the fulfillment of their sworn duties. And I personally worked with him in crafting and refining defense industry related bills, where he tirelessly shared his inputs and insights. I can personally attest to his dedication to the development of the industry from the grassroots to the industrialized improvements. I worked with him in the crafting of many bills, and Martin knew that in order for us to defend our country, we needed a strong defense industry, and that was what he worked hard for. And at the same time, he also believed that we need to promote our Philippine products abroad. And Armscor sells products that are known internationally in the United States. The firearms that they make are known worldwide. And this is a lot. And this is because of the efforts of Martin and his family. So his accomplishments are truly immense, especially in the defense industry. He put us on the map. He made products that were recognized worldwide, and he fought for the defense industry, for the defense of our country. So I give my salute, my respect, and of course my admiration for our friend. Many of us have considered him our close friends, like Senator Subiri. So, it's really a loss for our nation. But we will continue to fight for what Martin fought for, Martin and his family. I'm sure there are many legislators who believe in what he does, and we will continue to fight for what he did. So today, as we honor his life and legacy, I hope we remember someone who has been a vital pillar, not just in the security and defense sector, but also to the lives of the people he has helped and whose lives he touched through civic and outreach endeavors. Mr. President, I join our colleagues in remembering Martin Tuason, his life well lived, and his legacy that will last for many years and generations to come. Thank you, Mr. President.
We recognize our former Senate President, Senator Tito Soto.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am an Armscor fan. And not only that, I'm also a friend of the Tuason family. So I would be honored to be made a co-sponsor and co-author of PS Resolution 385. Thank you, Mr. President.
Duly noted.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And before I make the motion, Mr. President, to adopt the Senate resolution and ask for a minute suspension to give the family the parchment of the resolution, I'd just like to put on record, he touched many of our lives here, but most importantly, he really believed in homegrown defense equipment for the Philippines. Over the weekend, last week, a friend of mine complained to me, PNP siya, yung baril nila na 5.56, I think it's Korean made. Parang Armalite Korean made or Daewoo ba yun? Daewoo. Panay jam ng jam. And my good friend Martin Tuason would say, we make the best, from Elisco before, we now make the best there. Armscor makes this rifle called Torch for military use. And he was giving a lifetime warranty pag nasira yan, the factory which is in the Philippines will replace or fix all the damage and the parts that are damaged. And yet, there's always this bias between our armed forces. Gusto nila imported, imported, imported. Eh kung nasira, wala, tapon mo na, wala namang gagawa doon. Kaya bilib na bilib ako sa kanya, Mr. President. And I hope that this bias will be taken away and that our armed forces and our PNP will start looking at homegrown rifles and ammunition that can really sustain jobs and be self-reliant in terms of posture. So with that, Mr. President, we also want to recognize Senator Bongo would like to insert his co-sponsorship speech. He's also a good friend of Martin. Co-sponsorship speech to PS Resolution number 385. And with that, Mr. President, I move that we also make all members, without any objection from our colleagues, all members co-sponsor and co-author the measure.
We insert the co-sponsorship speech of Senator Bongo, and with that motion.
Mr. President, before we just approve the motion, we just want to do an amendment in my resolution. I made a mistake. I put their sportsman's headquarters. If I may move to replace the sportsman headquarters with the word Squires Bingham Sportsman's Headquarters.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the resolution is duly amended.
Thank you. Therefore, move to adopt Senate Resolution number. There's another one. And on the 10th whereas clause, delete the words including grenades and rocket launchers.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the resolution is duly amended.
Thank you very much. Subject to style, of course. With that, Mr. President, I go back to my previous motion that we approve or adopt Senate Resolution number 385 with all members be made co-sponsored.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, proposed Senate Resolution 385 is duly adopted.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, may ask for just a minute suspension so that we can give the family the resolution, that we come back online, back on session so that we can listen to the SONA messages of our minority leader.
We suspend the session.